So, thank you so much for joining me today.
Thank you.
And how are you enjoying Supernova so far?
I love it here. I've been trying to get to Supernova for about 3 or 4 years now, and it's always been a bit of an issue with scheduling because we're shooting The Walking Dead like 7 months out of the year, and it's just impossible to come out and commit to 2 weeks because, you know, the travel from Georgia to Australia is about 18, 19 hours at least. So there's just no way of committing to it. And this is the first time where schedule has been open. And I'm just so thrilled because I've heard nothing but good things about Supernova. And all the rumors are true, and everyone's just so lovely here. So yeah, it's been great.
Well, it is an amazing con. I've been here a couple of times, and I've met some amazing people.
Yeah.
I'll add you to that list. Thank you.
Oh, great.
Now, you mentioned before we started filming, you wanted to check out Naruto. So, are you an anime fan at all, or is this something off the blue?
Well, I love Attack on Titan.
Okay.
I love. I grew up with like Vampire Hunter D and Akira and obviously Paprika, Spirited Away. That's the anime that I love the most. I mean, because that I think was for me, and I really do have to watch more current anime, because I'm going off of what I consider the golden era of anime. You know, the 80s, mid 80s up through like the late 90s. I think was, for me anyway. I know that this is problematic for some, but like I really think that era of anime is the strongest and most beautiful stories perhaps ever told. And I know that they're trying to do Akira as a live action. I think Keanu Reeves might be playing it, the lead character, and I think that'd be amazing. Obviously, Ghost in the Shell. I thought Ghost in the Shell was incredible. I thought that they did such a good job recreating it. But I think that era of anime was gritty and so well animated. I mean, like, these were people who were painting cells. You know, it wasn't just done on a computer program, and I think there is something to be said for an artist's soul being put into the work that is unmistakable. And sometimes I think the ease with which we're able to, and it's not easy to make anime, don't get me wrong, but like, because there is a lack of that now, maybe it's perhaps maybe not as powerful as it was for me growing up. But then again, I need to put the caveat here, like, I only seen a few things currently, so I really do need to educate myself more and watch more current anime, because people tell me about Naruto, people tell me about My Hero Academia being amazing. Like, there's a lot of anime that I need to check out, so I get that. Yeah.
Well, coming from someone that actually started watching anime in the late 90s, so Dragon Ball Z, huge part of my childhood.
Yeah.
So I think there's a lot of good stuff out there.
You like Cowboy Bebop?
I've seen bits, but not.
Ooh.
I have to admit, I'm a bit behind on that one.
Real big fan of Cowboy Bebop.
Cowboy Bebop?
Yeah.
All right, I'll check that out. You check Naruto out, and I'll check out Cowboy Bebop. Done.
Boom. There we go.
Now let's talk a little bit about
Greek food.
Your Greek food. Okay.
Pasticcio.
Pasticcio. So you mentioned that your adopted yaya, is pasticcio.
Pasticcio and moussaka, of course, but then an amazing spanakopita, but also baklava.
Now,
I mean,
my spanakopita she's actually made it for me today. Anyway.
Nice.
I'd like to compare, but I didn't bring any, and I assume you also didn't bring any. So, so what is your absolute favorite?
Well, I don't eat meat anymore, but when I did, pasticcio was my all-time favorite. And for those of you who don't know, pasticcio is basically like Greek lasagna, but so much better, because there is a type of cheese. Well, there you go. Yeah, there you go. And the Greeks are very humble, as you can see. But like the consistency, the cheese in pasticcio is. What is it?
It's like more of a cream.
Yeah.
It's very creamy at the top. Mm-hmm. Yeah, very different.
I don't even know what kind of cheese it is. It might be goat, but it's like emulsified into this like you said, creamy. What is it made of?
I'm going to be honest. All I know is that it appears on the table.
Yes.
And then it's lovely. So I would love to watch my make it now that you think.
We need to find out. Yeah.
I've only just thought of this now. Like, why? How do I make this? And You've enlightened me. Thank you.
No, of course we got to figure this out.
We've got to figure this out. This is important.
It's very important for future generations, and I need to find out if I can make a veggie pasticcio. So
I assume you could.
Yeah.
Yeah,
you just take out the meat. Probably should be all right. I think.
Yeah. You could put the fake meat, like bacon.
There you go. Beyond Meat. Yeah.
Good work.
Yeah.
Now moving away from Greek.
Yeah, sorry.
I mean, look, our stomachs are important, but
yes.
But we'll talk a little bit about Avengers Endgame, Avengers Infinity War. You were cast as Red Skull. Now, did that come as a little bit of a surprise to you, considering Red Skull was a dead character?
Yeah.
I mean, he still was a dead character, but what did you think when they approached you for this? Or
I was stunned because, A, to your point, I didn't think he was ever going to be back in the MCU, and B, I just wasn't really sure what the nature of the character was, because I thought, when they called me out of the blue to ask if I did a Hugo Weaving impression, I was confused because I think Hugo Weaving is the master of impressions, and he does American, obviously his native Australian, German, British. He does every possible dialect so effortlessly that I was confused as to why they were asking about it. And I said, well, I could try, but which Hugo were we talking about? Like Agent Smith? Are we talking about, Galadriel? Or not Galadriel? What was his name in the Lord of the Rings? Galadriel? No.
All the names in that film were very hard to pronounce.
Yes, but maybe Galadriel?
Yeah, that one.
Lord.
Yeah, I got his face, but not his.
It's been a while. I'm so sorry for the Lord of the Rings fans out there. I can't remember his name. Crap. Anyway, it'll come back to me. We'll Google it. But I just didn't know what they were asking for, and I said, well, just give me a clue as to which Hugo we're talking about. And they said, well, we're thinking like a German Hugo Weaving. And I'm like, you know, my Red Skull? And they said, well, we can't really say. I'm like, okay, well then just send me some clips and I'll try to emulate them. And I worked on it for about a week and listened to these clips over and over again. And of course they were from Captain America: First Avenger. And I sent them in, and they said, great, we love it, we'll be in touch. And about 2 weeks later, after I just finished filming season 8, flown back from Georgia to Los Angeles, I was in my taxi back to my house, and then I got the call. And they said, you got the part? I was like, what part? What are we talking about? I don't know what you're talking about. And I didn't really, the sheer enormity of it didn't really hit me until I was on set the next day, because they said they need you to fly back right away. So I flew right back to Georgia. They film about 20 minutes from where we shoot The Walking Dead, and I rolled up, and it was just the most amazing experience, because that fandom, Marvel in general, is my childhood. I mean, there were 3 very specific fandoms as a kid growing up that were my thing, and it was Star Wars, Marvel, and Star Trek: Next Generation, and amongst other things, Highlander and you name it. But like Marvel in particular was where I learned how to draw, was where I wanted to be a voice actor. I met a bunch of the people from the X-Men animated series recently at a convention, and I was so blown away because, guys like Hal Dodd, who did Wolverine, and all the people who brought these amazing characters to life, I was genuinely starstruck, because they are the reason why I pursued voice acting and acting in general. So to get to play one of the characters that I loved the most as a kid, I always drew the villains and the Ghost Rider and the problematic superheroes as well, like Moon Knight and Wolverine and Ghost Rider, but also Mephisto and Omega Red and certainly Red Skull a lot. Anybody with a skull, basically. And it was just a trip. It was a huge honor to be able to step in those shoes for a little bit, and I hope Hugo liked it. I hope he enjoyed the performance, and I only was able to play that because he just rocked that performance so well, that character so well. In the first Avenger, he was such a phenomenal Johann Schmidt. Like he was incredible in that movie, and I just watched that on loop until I finally got the voice down, and it was great honor.
So you're speaking about you've really enjoyed that part. You really enjoyed being involved as the Red Skull, and in the Avengers series, in that last bit of the final phase. Do you see? I mean, the show has ended with. The movie has ended with the Soul Stone has been returned to the past. So the current timeline, the main timeline, does not have the Soul Stone anymore. So there's no real purpose for Red Skull anymore. Do you see him being involved in future films?
I certainly see a world in that. Well, I mean, the Russo brothers, I read an article where they were asked about that, and they basically said, and who knows if this is canon or whatever, but they said, once the Red Skull is released of the Soul Stone, once Thanos gets it, and then once Hawkeye gets it, he's essentially free. But if we think about it, there's all these different multiverses now. Mm-hmm. So in one multiverse, when Thanos frees him, he's free. And I would imagine the first thing he would do if he still has a vendetta or any part of him that still has ambition would go back to Earth. Because he can fly now. I'm imagining he can breathe in space too. So he could probably fly back to Earth from Vormir. And maybe he wants to enact revenge. Maybe he wants to keep his diabolical plan going. Or maybe he doesn't care at all. I imagine when you're graced with infinite wisdom, you're also graced or cursed with infinite pain and suffering. So he's probably... I would imagine on one level he's over it. He doesn't need to conquer anybody because he's...
Do you think it'd be the opposite, where he becomes sort of like an anti-hero, where he's...
See that.
Yeah, you can see that.
Well, you remember the Watcher?
Yep.
So I think the Watcher was this interesting character in the comics because, he would be this passive observer of Ego and certainly Galactus, and he would only intervene when it was absolutely necessary, but even then there was like a conflict within him. Kind of like Norrin Radd, where Silver Surfer didn't want to be Galactus's slave, but he was faced with a choice of like, do you want to save your home planet, or do you want to be my servant for all eternity to spare your people? And Norrin doesn't really want to do any of this, but he has to, and his whole entrance into Earth and Fantastic Four, whatever it is to destroy Earth. And the Fantastic Four, of course, convince him, like, please don't. We want to stay alive. And I think Red Skull could certainly move into that territory where he is just a casual observer of the worlds and the celestial bodies of the entire universe, and he only intervenes when he's absolutely needed. But that'll be interesting if he's going to be a force of good or evil. Did I answer the question?
No, that did. That did, and it summarized a lot of theories that I had towards the character. So I'm really happy about that.
Cool.
And just off topic a little bit, if you love anti-heroes, you're gonna love Naruto still. Have you been approached about doing the Red Skull at all? New movies.
I haven't, but I'll tell you, I would jump at the chance to do it again. I mean, because I think that role obviously belongs to Hugo. Yeah. He is the person that originated it, and I love what he did with that. If his heart is in a different place and he no longer wants to return, I would truly again be honored to play that character again. He's a fun character, and he's not fun in the conventional sense, but like the great thing about that character now. And Anthony and Joe Russo both came to me when we were recording it and said, we want you to take Hugo's Johan and Red Skull and infuse him with a bit of Yoda. That's how that's exactly what they said. They said
backwards talking.
Well, yeah. Right. Soul Stone you must grab. Yes. I was trying to do Johan, but it didn't work out. But
that would be a hard combination.
It would be a hard, yeah. I'm trying to do like a German Yoda, but no, it was they tried to
Yoda.
Yeah. Oh no. We do not want to get that trending on Twitter.
Not.
No, but it was a thing of like, he's a wise soul. He's 84 years older. But he's also an apparition. He's kind of a ghost at this point. He's no longer the diabolical, ambitious man that we know him as in 1944. He's a complicated anti-hero, like he said. So I think I thought that was such a fun take on him because he's just so broken. He's such a cursed man, and I loved playing that. I think it's cool when Marvel does a great job of exploring the gray, and the gray in morality and ethical implications. Civil War did that so well, which I thought Russo brothers were a perfect choice for in Infinity War and Endgame because they got the moral ambiguity of their choices in these characters, and that's why I love what Marvel's doing with the expanded MCU. I think Doctor Strange's Multiverse of Madness is going to be amazing. I think the Celestials and the Eternals, I'm like, I just can't wait. Like the kid in me is freaking out. The 38-year-old me is freaking out because it's like, it's all going to be great. It's all going to be gravy. They've already proven that they can do anything at a high level of cinematic, like the aesthetic of it, the special effects, it's all there. Now that we've got that all taken care of and we can make anything come to life and make it look amazing, the only limitation now is the writing. As long as the stories are there, as long as the writing is top notch, and we can explore all of these worlds from the MCU and do it in a way that has never been possible before, because we were always limited by the special effects. Now that we've proven in several movies that the special effects arguably can't get any better than this. There'll be refinements, of course, but it really can't get much better than this. And if you can do that, shit, man. Once the tires hit the ground with the writing, and the writing has been exceptional. It's been phenomenal so far, but now we just get to take all of these incredible comic book influences and just have fun. We just have to make sure the scripts are there, and once the scripts are there, it's like we can explore every possible nook and cranny of the MCU for the next 100 years, and that's what I hope they do. I think they will, but I think that they should just explore everything. And
I think that's why the MCU has been so successful, is because it is fun. It is fun, but it's also serious. The story's great. Mm-hmm. Characters just keep coming in and out of it. And I think that's what makes it so much fun. As a fan, as a child fan, as a 27-year-old fan. Yeah. So
the writers have the biggest problem they face is that they have to cram sometimes like an entire character's origin story and middle story and basically where the characters go for several years into like a 2.5-hour film. That's extremely difficult. But I think Deadpool is doing it right. I think Daredevil's doing it right. I hope Moon Knight, which is my all-time dream role, and whoever plays that role and whoever makes that show does that right, where they give it ample time to really develop those characters and develop those storylines. If we do that right, we can keep making these movies and these TV shows for years to come, for decades.
Yeah. Well, hopefully. Yeah. Well, thank you so much for joining me today.
Thank you. Sorry for rambling. I'm a rambler.
No, sorry. Definitely not. The most important things were first of all, the Greek food.
Of course.
100%.
Pasticcio.
And then the Sydney-Melbourne feud, chips.
Sure.
And then after that, obviously, Avengers Endgame.
Right.
Well, hope you enjoy the rest of Supernova.
Thank you very much. Thank you for having me, guys.